Welcome, welcome to another week of learning how to empower yourself to be relationship experts and learn as much as you can about relationships. That's what I'm here for. At any point, if you want to ask a question or speak, just request to speak. And we get really excited when people speak, so feel free to do that. Today's topic is standing your ground. So that's what we're going to cover today. Let's jump right in. So, standing your ground, what does that even mean? It could mean a lot of different things. And for each person, they can define it, how it's important to them. So when I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking of what stand your ground means for me and what things come up. So, you can also take a moment to think before I jump in with my thoughts, what you think standing your ground means to you. So some things that I could think of are, you have the right to feel however you feel in a situation. And if someone says, if you say, I felt really lonely, when you were out really late, that's an example of you being allowed to feel however you feel. And no one can tell you not to feel like that. Now, how you express that is something different. If you have a huge outburst and, you start throwing things and hitting people, obviously that's not a healthy reaction. But the feeling that you're feeling is something that no one can dispute because we're all allowed to feel that. So that's a healthy thing to practice, just owning your own feelings, whatever they are, and then working on expressing them in a healthy way. Another thing that is really good to know for standing your ground is not settling in a relationship. That includes finding a relationship, so knowing the things that you're looking for, and not just being just physical or just an emotional connection. Standing your ground and making sure that you get the best person that's suited for you. So that could be one element of standing your ground. For others, they might want commitment in a relationship, and for some reason that's not happening, and that's another area to stand your ground. So just remember that whatever you're feeling, you're allowed to feel it. How you show it is the thing that we got to work on to make sure is a healthy way of showing it. But whatever feeling you have, it's okay. So if you want to be in a committed relationship, that's absolutely a fine feeling to have. Another thing is with standing your ground, noticing when you're getting disrespected. That's really important. So, and one of the things, just an example, like if someone calls you dumb, that's not a nice thing to say. And just knowing that, it's okay to stand up for yourself if someone is making you feel disrespected, even if it's just one-on-one or in front of a group or belittling you in any way. That's, someone who loves you should know that that is okay for someone to feel like they're not going to accept in terms of behavior. For example, with my tone, that's something that my husband found unacceptable. So I would have every right to feel how I feel. But, when I'm explaining that, my tone would get kind of harsh. And that's something that he would notice, and it would kind of even distract him from what I'm saying. And so, sometimes he had to tell me, like, your tone is unacceptable. And that's something I had to, like, really take a moment and realize that, he's right. I do love him. I do respect him. And like, I have to calm myself down and then try again with my tone. And I would try again and I would be like, is this tone better? And like, he would say, yeah, that's a lot better. And he would really encourage me and be so happy that I had changed my tone. So that's another thing. Another example, just so we can wrap our heads around standing your ground in as many ways as possible. And when it's not okay, we'll cover that too. Is, for example, I really, really wanted a dog. I really wanted a husky dog. And I never had one growing up, never had any dogs. And when I, married my husband and I moved to the United States, I talked to him about it. He really didn't want a dog, but he came around and he was like, I might, I'll be okay if you want to get a dog. And I, rescued him from the shelter. He was 3 years old. He was very problematic. And, for the 6 months that I had him, it was really, really affecting my husband's like mental health and quality of life. And so that was really hard for me because, I've always wanted this dog. He didn't say no. And then, it's progressively getting really bad for him. So I know, Armand, you're here in the crowd. This is like probably a good moment for you to share like how that experience was, and then at what point you decided to stand your ground, even though it was so difficult, and explain what was going on for you. I don't know if he can he's connecting. Yes. Armand, go for it. I don't know if you could hear the question.
No, you cut out at the question.
Okay, question is the situation when we got the husky from the shelter, Zorro, and it was just progressively getting worse. And at some point you realized like your quality of life was going down, and this was a moment that you needed to stand your ground. And it was really tough because I really liked this dog and I really wanted it. And yeah, just I think people would really benefit from hearing like what you went through. You didn't say no at the beginning, and then yeah, how it unfolded for you.
Sure. So we got Kimi had really wanted to get a dog. I didn't really want a dog, but I was like, hey, maybe I can deal with it. But this dog was super problematic. Whenever Kimi wasn't home, it would just, I don't know, it would just like whine the whole time. Um, it would, constantly try to escape. It just felt like, there wasn't any peace when I was at home. And kind of, I kept trying to put up with it because I was like, I don't know, maybe like when we train it, if we are succeed at training it, it'll get better. Or, I didn't want to make Kimi unhappy by kind of, getting rid of it because, they say like happy wife, happy life. Um, but it turns out if I'm super unhappy, you know, then it's kind of hard to have a good relationship. So it probably, would have been better at the time. Eventually you know, like I told her I didn't like it a lot of times, but I don't think it like set in how much, I don't think it got across how much it was affecting me. And I probably should have stood my ground earlier. Um, and just been like, yeah, like we're not trying this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Eventually I got there, but I think I should have done it probably much sooner. Um, and yeah, like the key there was, hey, I just wanted to make Kimia happy, but just in the long term, there's no way something like that could have ever worked. In that case, you kind of have to sacrifice some maybe short term happiness to be able to be happy in the long term. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, so many like learning points that you touched on, which people in the crowd can really take away from. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and it really came down to the dog or Armon, and I picked Armon, and we rehomed the dog, which was really hard, but you know you prioritize your relationship over like everything else. So that's kind of where you want to have your priorities lie when you're making these hard decisions. We're going to cover Reddit questions. We've got 5 of them for today, but we're going to practice the skill of standing your ground and putting these things to practice with real life stories and scenarios. And so this is going to come up, and it's a good point to remember.
Oh, something
Mm-hmm.
something else I want to
Mm-hmm.
add is, at the beginning when we got him, I was like, all right, this is like I'm going to set these boundaries. Like we're going to give it this much time, and if it doesn't work, I'm just allowed to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think when it got to it, like that didn't really work. I don't remember if I'm pretty sure I brought it up or something like that, but we were just not on the same page about what the boundary actually was. So that's important too. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember we did put some sort of boundary in place with like time, and then the time passed, and then he was like he's not happy, but he didn't officially pull the trigger on these. And then like I just saw how bad it got like about 6 months in, and then I think from memory, Armand, I made the decision because I saw like how bad it was affecting you. Did you make the official call?
Honestly, I don't
Hmm.
remember. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true. So even if you do make arrangements, like at the we had agreed maybe like it was 1 month of trialing it out, and then like I like wanted it all to work so bad that I you know like I asked him how he felt about it, but I didn't like I knew he was like unhappy, but I was like, oh, he's not that unhappy. He'll be okay. And it's like he really was that unhappy, and that's something I really should have taken very seriously. But it also helps to be like very direct and say just transparently.
Yeah, kind
Mm,
of what I expected that maybe I should have done
mm,
differently is very often I said I was happy or I was really
mm-hmm,
unhappy. And I was like a person who loved me would be like, hey, like you're unhappy. Like, do you want us to get rid of this dog like we agreed? I maybe have been afraid of paying or pulling the trigger because of, you know, different consequences. Maybe I would have thought Kimi would get mad at me or something like that. So I really wanted to be like, yeah, I'm unhappy. And her to be like, all right, yeah, it's okay. Let's get rid of him. But that never happened until, for a long time.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's a super fair point. All learning things for the future for sure. One thing that I had to learn that was standing my ground that I actually only learned in the last, I want to say 2 years. So even though I'm like so trained on all of these things and I have a lot of knowledge on relationships, for some reason when you know if I was having a disagreement with someone, especially, yeah, I think with everyone, but like more with, my partner, if, I had an opinion, they had an opinion, and then I said my opinion, if they doubled down, I would kind of just be like, oh, they must be right. And I would just assume doubling down was an indication of someone must be right if they're doubling down. And that can just be a reaction they have. That's just maybe how they deal with conflict. And it may not necessarily mean that they're right. And so I know it seems so obvious to you guys. It took me a really long time to figure that one out. So just because someone doubles down on their stance or their opinion and, maybe raises their voice a bit more, or their facial reactions change, or they feel more strongly about something, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're right. Just because you're softer, or just because, I don't know, you're not as articulate as them or something like that, it doesn't mean you're wrong. So you can still assess the situation, um, like as fairly as you can, and make a decision. So that's something that I've noticed a shift in my own behavior, that just because someone doubles down, I don't just give up my stance on something. I still keep thinking about it objectively, which is a good one I had to learn for standing my ground. Um, Another one that's really good to know for standing your ground is, if someone's making the same mistakes over and over again, and you've told them that, you know, this makes me feel terrible. Can you please do this, or can you please do that? It's really important that someone that loves you can show improvement, and that's really a sign of like a good quality partner or good quality people in your life. So everybody makes mistakes, so that part you can't really avoid, unfortunately. But and we all do. But when we do make mistakes, we try and figure out what is needed for that not to happen again. And hopefully the person that's upset can let you know exactly what they need, or the other person who upset you can ask you what you need to feel better, and you guys can, talk about that and come up with a plan. But if someone is repeatedly making the same mistakes again, it's okay to stand your ground and say, I brought this issue up first at this time, and, I told you what I needed to make the situation better. And, in these like few other instances over this period of time, I haven't seen any improvement, or I've only seen a slight amount of improvement. And this is the level that I need you to be for me to feel respected. And, and if it's something that's really important that they keep violating, it's okay to be like, I need to feel respected and loved and cared for in a relationship. And if I'm not getting that, then I'll have to review the relationship. And so I say that, so you want to use that as a very last resort, because threatening to end a relationship is something you pretty much never want to do. You want to give people chances to improve. That's important. And, be very clear with what you need from them. But, threatening to leave a relationship for them to, do the right thing is really, really unhealthy. So when I know in relationships, people threaten to break up, I get really concerned, because it really puts the relationship in a fight or flight state, and people aren't functioning in like a healthy environment for love to grow. It's coming from fear and anxiety, and all of these things that can make it like a highly tense situation, which is, and the fear of, oh no, they're going to break up with me, oh no, they're going to break up with me, is not the kind of mindset you want your partner to be when they're in a relationship with you. So please, at all costs, avoid the kiss of death in a relationship of threatening to end it. But also don't put up with, being repeatedly, being treated really badly, especially when you've taken all the right steps to let them know. Hold them accountable. Don't just let them get away with it, or say, oh, this is just how it is. It's not. Like, everyone can grow and improve if they choose to. So definitely take that seriously. So I know I see Mr. Magic Man up here. There was an instance this week where I noticed that you did stand your ground, which was like super amazing. It was a situation where, like, you were following up with something and you weren't getting a response or a full response, and you just addressed the situation and was like, hey, like, I just wanted to see what's going on. I haven't received a response about this. And, kind of held them accountable. And then they responded kindly, and, they acknowledged that, he's allowed to feel how he feels, and they have this going on, and, they're going to get better at the communicating. It's just a very temporary time period because of this thing going on. So, Mr. Magic Man, is there anything you want to say about your experiences this week? I feel like you killed it with practicing this skill.
Um, yeah, I think maybe to make it more likely for people to change, maybe it takes like a bit of empathy. I think what I try to do is always try and think of how they must be feeling, so they can kind of, it gives them the permission to kind of look at us. If you're not really looking at each other and not trying to understand each other, it makes it a bit harder for the other side to also do that. So I think starting from there and trying to empathize, understand, maybe try and help, it makes them easy. It makes it easier for them to help you when you need it or when you're trying to stand up or say something. And yeah, I think so. All the situation was, I think we were just talking, and I think they just didn't respond. Like I like was sent a bunch of messages, and I think couple days passed, and there was no indication of like what happened, and I wasn't sure at all, and I don't know if it was something I said or if they were just busy or something just changed in their life. So yeah, I wasn't sure if I should speak out, just be patient, but I think I was I think I was just going to be honest, and I was just like, hey, I realized you haven't responded to the messages. Is there anything I should know? Um, and then just like kind of put it from their perspective because I knew they were quite busy. Maybe that was the reason. So I just try to like, yeah, just better understand. Like, is there something I can know that might help this conversation, or start from that perspective, and give them the benefit of the doubt? Because I don't think most of the time when you think things are going wrong, sometimes they're not, and like it's like all in our heads. So sometimes, yeah, just be honest and be like, I feel like I would like to know, like maybe what's happening. Are you busy? Do you have some new stuff going on in your life or something? Is it not working out? That's fine too. Like it's good to know that. But yeah, just be honest with your thoughts and try and do it in an empathetic and understanding way. And yeah, like it's good to do that. It builds. I think it also gives them permission to also say stuff if they wanted to. But yeah, that's kind of what went down.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I know there's a couple of other instances this week that was very similar along these lines that is good for people to hear so they know like this is what people go through. So, for example, another person I know was interested in someone and welcome Omid. They asked them out, they saw them in person and then asked them out. And then the person was just like, hey, sorry, I'm busy. Like, for example, I've got my graduation or I'm hanging out with friends or I'm traveling. And it was like 4 or 5 times that this person followed up. And then on their last message, they just stopped responding completely. And so when I see that, you know, well, first of all, the person that keeps deflecting, it really seems like they're not being honest with how they feel. And that's problematic. So if you're not interested, just say you're not interested. Don't come up with like fake reasons for why you're not available or, things like that. Just be upfront. You can say, I only see you as a friend. Um, you know, that's fine. Well, sorry, I'm not interested in that way. That's fine. That honesty is so great and appreciated and preferred over like fake excuses and eventually ghosting and not responding. So you don't have to come up with some fake reasons for why it's not working. Yeah, just be honest and upfront about it. That's the best way. And on his end, he tried like 4 or 5 times, and probably after the first time or maybe the second time, that would have been a good point where he was starting to feel like really like I don't know, maybe humiliated or uncomfortable, and that would have been a great moment for him to be like, hey, I just wanted to check in. It doesn't, it seems like you don't want to meet up. Is that the case? Just say how you think it is. It's okay to just address the elephant in the room. It's actually encouraged. And a lot of the times, we literally don't know what's going on in the other person's head until we ask. We can make all of these assumptions, and sometimes we can be right, sometimes we can be wrong, even from someone who's specialized in, psychology and human behavior and things like that. People ask me like, what do you think? Like all these signs and stuff. And I can tell you what I think, but I always say like, we need to ask so we can know. Like I'm never going to be 100% right because I don't know what's going on in their head. They can really have, good mechanisms of hiding it, or they could be acting this way for a whole bunch of reasons. So the foolproof way of kind of getting to the heart of a situation and figuring out what's going on is asking the question that you really want to know directly. And if they don't respond, because that's one of people's big fear, that, oh no, what if they don't respond, or what if this ruins the vibe or the energy or our friendship? It's okay. Love is scary, and you have to take that risk. And for someone who's mature, um, they're gonna, either it's gonna be like fireworks and you guys are gonna hit it off, or you're gonna realize they're not the right person for you. And if they choose not to respond or make you feel bad, that's a reflection of themselves, and you don't want to be with that person anyway. You don't want to be with someone that can treat you like that and treat you badly. So it reveals what that person is like, and that's really good. We want it revealed, and we don't want to waste time. And sometimes just standing your ground means owning your feelings when you like someone. And if you don't do that, sometimes someone else swoops in and the other person has no idea that you like them. And that is like such an unfortunate situation that I hope everyone can avoid. It's, I know it's super scary. Even it's super scary for me. It's not like some people have magical powers and they don't feel like super uncomfortable to do that. We all feel uncomfortable and scared, but by doing it, then that's the only way we're going to find the other side of what happened. So it's a human condition. We can all relate to being rejected or having someone turn us down. And, that's the only way we get to the other side. So don't be afraid of that. Be open to that. Okay. I want to go buy some Starbucks. Great to see you here. If ever you want to speak, feel free to just request to speak and unmute whenever. It's so amazing when people come up to speak. Anyone in the room, you're more than welcome to come up. It's so amazing when we hear different people's opinions. I always encourage it. And any question you have, feel free to ask, because that's what I'm here for. We pick a skill that I can teach every week, but the point is to answer your questions and see what you're interested in, so I can give you as much value on this session every week as I can. So at any point, feel free to do that. No judgment on your question. I've heard everything under the sun, so don't be embarrassed. Yeah, so feel free to do that. I'll keep an eye out on the requests for speakers. So another thing I want to highlight, the last thing before we go into our Reddit questions, where we try and apply these skills in practice, is when shouldn't you stand your ground? And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and it can get very confusing. But there are some times where you shouldn't stand your ground because of like the greater good, and you're part of a team. And when you commit to someone for the rest of your life, there's teamwork involved in that. So there's an element of that too. So for example, if someone, if you think your partner is making a terrible decision, or making a bad decision, or making not a smart decision, it's okay to tell them. It's okay to tell them and be like, hey, for these reasons, I don't think this is a good idea. And for them to do the same too. It's okay for someone to, have the freedom of speech to share their feelings. But, if they end up still making that decision, it takes a good teammate to stand by a bad decision and, go through it together. So it's better to make a suboptimal decision than to make a better decision but alone. Because in a marriage, usually, it's gonna, if you stand your ground and you're like, you're wrong, I'm not going to support you, it's going to show up later. Like maybe you'll feel high and mighty in the moment, but it will really chip away at your relationship. And you need to be there for, like, maybe someone goes through some sort of health issue or something like that, and that's something that nobody saw coming, but you have to be there for your partner. And standing your ground of like, well, I don't like this, I'm not having fun, I'm not blah blah blah, that's not the moment you want to stand your ground. When you make a commitment, it means that you are now a team and you're working towards that. And no two people are the same, so you'll have differences in some places, and that's something you'll have to it takes a lot to learn that. So that's a part of it as well. So if you notice in your relationship that someone's kind of not got your back, that's something that's okay to feel bad about and address it. You don't have to like suffer in silence about something like that. So please know that teamwork is the norm, and if you're not feeling like a team, then there's something that needs to be improved there, like through thick and thin. So another thing is, this can happen. It's an example. So let's say, and this has happened probably quite a bit on my end, it's a real life example. Like I would commit Arman and I to go to places sometimes before asking him, and I would forget to ask him, and he would like have things to do and not want to go or things like that. And so if he stood his ground and was like, I'm not going to go, that's not the best. I'm going to feel like really bad, but I know I did the wrong thing because I did it without asking him. So it would be great if he still came along, because I made a commitment on behalf of both of us. But in the future, we discuss good things in place so this doesn't happen again. So that's something to keep in mind, that you have every right to feel like you don't want to go. That's absolutely fine. But as a teammate, it would be the right play to go and then fix it later. So you're playing the long game, and a lot of this you have to realize, like, you can win a battle, but you can lose the war, and you're both playing to win in the long run. So even with being right, sometimes you're going to be right, sometimes they're going to be right, and you both want to be happy and in a relationship in the long run. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about standing your ground. Another one that comes up quite a bit, and it's totally okay to feel. So doing things that your partner enjoys that maybe you don't enjoy, that's really important. Like, you might not like hiking, but maybe your partner really likes hiking, and or maybe you really like watching a sort of thing, and like they don't like it so much, but they do it for you, and they spend time doing, like, sharing that experience. It's so important to, and it's very easy for someone to say, I don't want to do that, it doesn't make me happy, it's really boring for me, or it's really uncomfortable for me, and not do it. And they feel like they're standing their ground, but it's not making the other person feel loved. And even if it's one-sided, so, it could be one partner, sharing the other partner's like activities and things they like to do. So they, feeling uncomfortable, but they're pushing themselves to do the things the partner likes. And then they're not seeing that in return. And so it's important for it to be two-sided. And that's not a good moment to kind of stand your ground. You want to be able to share experiences that your partner loves and do the same in return, because it's such an amazing feeling when you can share your passions with someone else. And it doesn't have to be all the time, 24/7, but it's really important to feel like a team and feel connected. And, the stronger you guys become as a team and the better you become at picking a partner initially. So even if you're single right now, this is the best opportunity you have to find a high quality person that can make the rest of your life so much better. So you don't want to settle at the beginning. And even when you're in a relationship, you want to make sure that you're feeling as much like a team as you can. And when you feel like a team, everything falls into place. Like you have a better, you have better intimacy, you have better sex, you have more trust, you have more loyalty. And, people look at you like, how are you guys you feel free with each other, like you feel happy with each other, you feel connected, like best friends, like all of those things. And it all comes with these decisions of like knowing when to stand your ground and when to be an amazing teammate for your partner. Another thing that can come up where some people might feel like they need to stand their ground that maybe isn't the best is with privacy. So, in a marriage, like if someone really wants to hide their phone or their laptop or something, like I don't like, unless it was like, for the country's safety or something like that. I don't know, because it's, if you want to be comfortable that you're saying anything that you're saying is not inappropriate, and if you're being loyal, you've got nothing to hide. You've got nothing to hide. So I'm on the side of being completely open and transparent. And that, I know some people that have gone through some loyalty issues and things like that, they really want to see the other person's phone and they're constantly maybe checking it or something like that. And at the beginning, it might be like that. But if they realize you're honestly doing nothing wrong, it'll naturally decrease. And then that behavior doesn't happen as much because, if they see your actions and all, messages and all you do, it's consistent. And, that trust grows. So, for example, Arman and I, we, share all our passwords and our phone, like, you can look through it anytime you want. But we don't really even do that. But, like, if he looks at my phone at some point, like, I'm not going to make him feel bad about it or anything. And if he sees something and he's like, oh, what about that? I'm accountable. I need to be accountable for my actions. So it's totally okay if he addresses something. So, if someone's standing their ground and being like, we're in this like lifelong committed relationship and I don't want to share what I write to other people, like that's, I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know why you would want to hide something if everything's, Gucci. So I think that's a good one to feel like no matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter if your partner sees it or not. It's good because, you are loyal and everything matches transparently. So that's the goals we want to be at. Anyone have any questions before we jump into Reddit questions where we practice all of these things that we've learned? Okay. At any point, if you do, feel free. This is what it's all about. All right. So let's see if we can bring some people up to answer some questions together. Feel free to come up. I'm just going to request all of you guys if you want to speak. When we jump in, see your request. Amazing. Okay, I think I got everyone. If I can. Awesome. Okay. All right. I'm excited. Okay. So we've got a 35-year-old male and we've got a 71-year-old female who's the mum in this situation. And the Reddit question is, my mother-in-law is setting a boundary with my wife about where Christmas is going to be, and I don't know how to navigate the situation. And we have some more information on this to give us more context. So the husband in this situation shared that their mother-in-law is insisting on hosting Christmas at her house, but this is causing logistical difficulties for them. The mother-in-law is refusing to travel despite the fact that the individual, so the guy and his wife often make an effort to visit her. So they often come to her. And the couple is torn between spending Christmas with both sides of their families separately or having one blended Christmas. The husband believes that the mother-in-law's insistence on hosting is a power play and seeks advice on how to address the issue and set boundaries with the mother-in-law. Okay, So I really like this question because it brings some important things to light. So let's say it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or, Nowruz, Persian New Year or whatever it is. And now you have, your mother-in-law saying something and, you and your wife might have a different opinion. How do you think you would go about navigating this situation and standing your ground? And what do you think is the right play here? Who wants to take a guess at this one? Okay, I'm going to call on people as I see you.
Sometimes I would just be honest and just work it from there. Sometimes you don't know the answer, but you can kind of be honest. Yeah, I'll just be like, dude, I think you're pushing me a little bit for going to Christmas. What, why does it matter? And then kind of work from there. And I think that most of the times I'll just be like, I just really want to see you, or this is a special day. And then like you would negotiate. I think first you want to be honest, put your feelings and emotions on the table, and then from there maybe you can like logically work it out. But yeah, I think there's like a bit of an attachment where maybe Christmas is like a very special thing for the mother-in-law, and she's just gotten so used to it or really wants it to be there with her children. But yeah, I think I would like put my emotions on the table and try and negotiate it. That's the best I got. I don't know if it's like a
I got you.
perfect thing to do,
Yep,
but
yep, yep. Okay, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to see if anyone else wants to jump in. Anyone else have anything different that they would do or any other perspective they want to share? Yes, Starbucks.
Hey, good evening. Thanks for having me up here. It's great to be here, and thank you. So barring that there's not like children involved somewhere in this travel scenario, I'm just gonna make some
Yep, yep.
assumptions with some of that because previously when I was married, it was kind of a thing where the mother-in-law basically dictated our holiday schedules.
Mm-hmm,
Like, it was my ex-husband's mother. And so, but we're the one dragging the kids around
mm-hmm,
everywhere. You know what
mm-hmm,
I mean? And it was financially straining as well. So I guess maybe if the 72-year-old mother is ambulatory, and assuming that she can travel, it almost seems like if it were me and my partnership between the families, if the families got along well enough that I would just be like, hey, Christmas at our
mm-hmm,
house this year, and host both families. Or if you have to do it separate, one gets Thanksgiving and one gets Christmas,
mm-hmm,
but they're coming to like our house. But some people don't want to entertain either. You
mm-hmm,
know what I mean? Like sometimes you just want to have a holiday all by your own self with your own little
mm-hmm,
family, So there's that element as well. So I guess, I would try to negotiate like her reasons why, like, what is her premise on wanting everyone to come to her? Like maybe there's other reasons behind it, but I would probably maybe ask a few questions and then just kind of explain, the difficulties and the logistics that are being faced and ask her to maybe give suggestions on what she could see would be a workable solution for everybody and see what she
mm-hmm.
says. Like, that will help you position you on like what your next move might be.
Absolutely. Great points, great points. And, if on both of your, oh, I see a hand. Yes. Yes, Django.
Hi, this is Django. Can everyone hear
Yes,
me?
love to have you here. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you for having me. So far I'm hearing a lot of assumptions, and honestly, I'm a jump to conclusions master. But in this specific situation, I'm gonna try and avoid
Mm-hmm,
that. And why? Like, just why does she need it at her crib? I don't understand that. Like, I'm gonna be honest, you don't need anything
mm-hmm,
but pay taxes and die. That's
mm-hmm,
it. So like, I don't know why. I don't know why it's so essential.
mm-hmm,
If we can figure out why. And this is kind of what the first speaker was saying. I forget their name. My
oh, good.
apologies. But yeah. But if we can figure out why they need it, then I feel like that's somewhere to make progress, and that's where we can kind of go off, kind of lay down how everyone feels about everything, and on as far as like why it has to happen at the 71-year-old mother-in-law's residence, and then just go from there and see if some sort of compromise can be made. But really, no assumptions made. Why does it have to be there? Like, it doesn't have to be there
Yep.
at all. Like, we could have a Christmas like outside
Yep.
at a park or something.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
so
No, exactly.
that's all I have to
Great
say.
points. Great points. And even at the end there in the scenario, it said it might even be a power play situation with the mom. And so if I'm going to simplify it right down, so if you're in a dilemma, something like this, where someone external to you and your partner in life is, trying to influence something, and so you hear the reason. So let's say we listen to everyone in this Twitter space right now, we get the reasons, and everyone's doubling down on their stance. So let's say I'm going to be the husband in the situation. My wife is like, I want to have it here. This is what means a lot to me. And the mom is like, no, like it's, all you can say anything you want. I want to have it at my house. if everyone like doubles down on their stance, what do you do? And so the simple answer is you put your wife first or you put your husband first. So your team is the most important that you need to take into consideration, because that's the person you're going to spend your whole life with, and they need to be happy. And so when it comes down to it, like at the very end where everyone's holding their ground, like you two need to be on the same page. So whatever you want. So let's say if I'm the husband and I still want to go, like I need to talk to my wife about it and figure out what we decide we're going to do and go with that. Like I love my mom, but like I have to realize that my partner comes first and we have to figure it out together. Oh, I see hands. This is great. Feel free to unmute Django, and then we can get Simone up there.
All right, I'll be quick with this. I would agree. Definitely side with your partner first, because that's the person that you're trying to build a life together, and shall till death do you apart and whatnot. All the marriage vows and all that good stuff. I think a potential real big boon would be if you and your partner could work out like, okay, I got you on this family outing, and the next family outing that's going to happen that's somewhat significant, whether it's holiday related or just like completely random, we'll do what, let's say, your family wants, and then kind of like a back and forth. That way, I guess everyone gets their own time to shine, if you will. Some people might feel a little frustrated in the moment, and I think that's fine. Just let people feel out their emotions in the moment. That's all you can really do. You can't really rush it. They just have to go through it. Eventually, the emotion will fade away, because that's just what feelings do. They go away, and then when it's their time to shine, their time is still coming. And when it happens, you go all out. Then that's it.
Love it. Love it. All good advice. Simone, I see your hand.
Hello, thank you so much, Love Story Unicorn. What a very pleasant surprise to see this wonderful topic in space, because I've been off social media for the last 7 years and I've only been on Spaces the last 5 years, and I've not seen this topic before, so I really appreciate it, because we're all in a relationship. We're in a relationship with ourselves, a higher power, and of course our partners. So I don't want to be disrespectful, because I've only heard just a little bit, so please, I don't mean any... I don't mean to create any I'm right, you're wrong type thing. That's far from it. It's part of the sharing together. So I've been with my partner for 20 years, and all I can say is, I've definitely had at least 2 Christmases that haven't been easy or fun, to say the least. But now that, my partner's grandparents are 97, I look on it now and I very much review it, that really life is short. And how I review it now is like, if people trigger me, instead of me going, you triggered me, blah, 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 blame and shame, I have to take inventory and be really still and go, how did I trigger them? What did I bring into the energy? And how I usually review that is I look at my thoughts. And I go, man, my thoughts are judging. They're very judgmental, and I know that person can feel it, and I don't like being judged. And so that's where I'm just taking more self-responsibility on my part. I can't have that energy anymore of like, I need you to be loyal to me. You need to pick sides. You have to do this. It's just when they love their family, they love their family, and they'll back to it, even if they're wrong. Even if they know they're wrong, they that blood energy, they will fight, and it just causes so much disharmony and the lead up to it. So that's, again, my responsibility of, months before Christmas or occasion is I just got to clean up my backyard, because people feel it. And, we watch all those comedy movies of Christmas time and it's all chaotic and there's always one person that just sort of disrupts it. But then it just blows out. And I'm sure, like on Spaces, there's always one person that steps into a pixel space and disrupts it. So thank you for letting me have a voice. Beautiful energy, beautiful vibes. And thank you for this topic. It's very enriching.
Thank you. And I love when people bring their different perspectives up there. We can all learn so much from each of them. For example, you brought up the point of, when your parents might get really old, you have a limited time with them. And so, for example, this is a really important part of it to consider. So let's say my wife doubles down and is like, no, there's no way I want to go. And I feel the way Simone is saying, like, I don't feel like I have that many years left with, my parents, and I want to spend more time with them. And, I get that for whatever reason, my mom doesn't want to come, but like, if we stay here, it means we won't see her for Christmas. And so, my wife would have to listen to what I'm saying and hear me out at least, and take that into consideration if I feel that strongly about it. And, maybe like, she's just like, look, just Christmas like is here, but for New Year's Eve, like we'll go to her, like we'll make sure we see her, in like this year, and take that into consideration, because it's, even putting your partner first, like, I can put my wife first in this situation, but if I keep doing that and I don't see her being a teammate to me and caring about how important it is for me to spend time like with my parents as well, I could naturally get quite resentful and not respect her as much or not feel as loved towards her. And that's a really important thing, to just make sure you're on top of your feelings and you're noticing when things are building up for you, and like for your partner to also realize how important some things are for you and not just keep taking. It really is, we have to try and give to each other, and it's not a one-sided team. So even if I put her first in the situation, it's not fair for me to always put her first. She also has to put me first, and take everything into consideration, like you guys are saying. So even if you do put your partner first, it's not just one-sided, it's double-sided, and they have to take your feelings into consideration too. So I love how we covered a lot of different aspects of a situation like this where someone else is influencing a relationship. This one is another question, guys. Okay, so it's a 26-year-old female and a 33-year-old male. So my boyfriend and our title is confusing. So this time it's the girl speaking. It says the person is feeling confused about their relationship status with someone they are dating. They initially agreed to be boyfriend-girlfriend in a relationship, but are now questioning the importance of labels. The partner has expressed concerns about communication and seems to think of the person more as a friend than a partner, which can cause confusion and sadness. The person is seeking advice on how to handle this situation. So let's say you had a friend come to you and they're like, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and all of a sudden, like, my boyfriend is now, calling me a friend, and that makes me really sad and I don't know what to do. Who thinks they have a guess at giving like advice to their friend with that one? Who wants to jump in with this one? Omid, I'll call on you. I haven't heard you speak on this Twitter space. If you're up for it, how do you think you would handle this one?
I think I would handle it by, like a sit down, and like they need to put like everything, like the cards on the table, and try to sort everything out.
Yep, straight to the point. I love it. This is a point of standing your ground. It seems like she really wants to be in a relationship with labels, and she thought she got that, and so her expectations were matched at the beginning. But now it's confusing for her, and she's feeling confused. And if you remember at the beginning of this Twitter space, we learned it's okay to feel however you feel. No one can judge however you feel, but how you show that, like if you go, I don't know, like put his house on fire, like that's not a good way of handling it. But if you're like, hey, like there's something important to me that we need to talk about properly, and I just need to know where we're at. If you see me as a friend, I appreciate the honesty and want to know that it's not anything beyond that, and it took a bit of time for you to figure that out, and now it's just friendship and not more. Or if this is like related to something else and you do like me more than a friend, and let's figure this whole label thing out. So stand your ground if something is important to you, and express that. Don't let it linger on, because honestly, it will just keep building up and it will come out in more and more toxic ways the longer it lasts. So Omid's advice was solid. Just have that direct conversation, address the elephant in the room, and you kind of want to feel like you know what's going on one way or another, or put a time frame on figuring it out and then come back and go from there. So if something's important to you, don't let it linger, or just whatever this person's reasoning is for just letting it last this long. Okay, let's go to the next question. So 28-year-old male and 28-year-old female. So my wife always gets sick when I take vacation, so days off work. And so this is the husband speaking. He's expressing his concern that whenever he takes vacation from work, his wife often becomes sick or unwell, which disrupts the plans for relaxation or activities during his time off. He works a high-stress job with long hours, has a demanding role as a father and husband. Despite scheduling vacations well in advance and attempting to discuss the issue, his wife's health issues tend to coincide with his times off, leading to frustration and disrupted plans. The person is seeking advice on how to address the situation and has decided to seek marriage counseling as a possible solution. And one example he gave was that, so his wife is like a home mom that takes care of the kids. And like, she would say she's done all this work, like done all this like things around the house, but the kids say she's just been on the computer playing games all day. And like, whenever, the husband, he encourages her to take time off too and like enjoy herself as well. But yeah, he just feels like every time he takes a vacation, like, she's got a sore back and she's just not in any way engaged. And this has happened a lot of times. What would you do if your friend came to you with that one? It's a tough one. This is a tough one. Anyone want to take a leap with this one? It's tough. It's tough. It's not a straightforward one, and we're making assumptions, so it's hard to know what's going on. Simone, yes, I see a hand. Go for it.
Thank you, lovely soul. I really appreciate it. Again, just coming from experience, is that we're human and we have attachments. So we have attachments on people, we have attachments on outcome, and we have certain expectations of what we want. So, of course, the husband wants to have a really loving, happy, harmonious family holiday. I would probably say that there's something deep going on with her, and I'm going to say that she doesn't feel supported. She doesn't feel supported with life. She doesn't feel supported in this relationship. And it's interesting that, if we're very busy, productive, the minute that we slow down, we either get tired, sleepy, or that's when the body goes, awesome, you're stopping, now I can get sick. So I would just love her through it. That's the word, unconditionally, because we've all got conditions. No one knows how to love unconditionally. And that's the reason why, as much as I've been with my partner for 20 years, that high spirit, God, angels, whoever you want to call it as, that spiritual love is the only thing that sustains me, because it's there 24/7, and humans will let humans down. And that's the key is, we're all doing the best we can, but once you have that expectations, disappointment will come. And if you can just be neutral, and I always say to my partner, you take 50%, I'll take 50%. Because before I used to take like 90 or 100%, thinking, oh, it's all my fault. It's like, no, you take 50, which is doing way better, which is much, much more easier and a deeper flow. So I feel like every day is like a living, breathing workshop. I don't mean it in a bad way, but you can't slack off, whether it's a new relationship, an old relationship. It's just always got to have that integrity, thoughtfulness, love, compassion, mercy. Because I always say the one that is in front of you, love the one you're with, which is yourself and the person that's in front of you. And we just always want to change people, change situations. The more peaceful that you are inside, the change will happen. So thanks, Love Story Unicorn, for letting me speak again.
Of course, I love when you speak up. And you come from 20 years of marriage. That's not a small thing. So, there's a lot of things you've done right to get to this point, which I think is really valuable for a lot of us to hear. So I appreciate you being brave enough to get up. And there's no wrong answers. It's, if every situation is different. With this one, I know this actually came up for me and my husband this summer vacation that we had. So we went to Europe. I went to Europe for the first time with my husband, and I really wanted to go to Santorini, and we did. And the place we stayed was so important to me, and we spent so much money on it, and we had to budget for months to make it happen. And we learned so much about what we appreciate in a holiday. So for me, I appreciate a nice new place and a nice accommodation, and being with the people I love. And for my husband, it was the people that he loves. The place doesn't matter so much. The place you stay doesn't matter so much, but it's the activities that you do. And so we did this whole Europe trip. We went to London, we went to France, we went to Luxembourg, we went to Santorini. And at the end of it, I got sick on the last day of Paris and all of Santorini. And I knew how much money had gone into this, and I knew, so I was happy to stay in the room because the room was just breathtaking. It was inside a cave with the perfect view and everything, and a pool inside, and just it was just my sort of thing. But for him, it was all about activities, and he wanted to go cliff jumping, and he wanted to go do these fun things, and I'm pretty sick, I'm pretty sick, and but I have a really high pain tolerance, and I'm this is a pretty much a once in a lifetime thing where we're got this place and we're in this moment, and just I didn't want to have regrets, and I didn't want to let him down. And we went cliff jumping, and then the next day he was super supportive. He's we can stay in the room, we cannot do any of these things, but we're we've been here for 4 days, let's do another thing. So we went jet skiing for the first time, and we drove an ATV in the hot sun and navigated all of that, and it was a lot of fun. It was memories I'll never forget. And I came back home and I completely crashed, but he gave me the choice and he gave me the option, and I really appreciated that. And I know he appreciated also having those memories together. So for me, I chose that was worth it. But I think what Simone was saying is very spot on. If I had to guess, it seems like there's a lot of deep stuff going on between this couple that we're talking about, where there's a deeper issue. It might not be a coincidence that every time he gets time off, especially if she knows in advance that she starts feeling sick, and if she's spending a lot of time in bed all day and things like that, it would be really good to figure out what is she bottling, or what is she feeling is not improving, or or it could be something completely personal to her and not relating to her husband at all, but something that's really important for both of them to feel like a team. So I think that was spot on that Simone noticed that there was something deeper going on, and that seems like it's the real issue, and this is the symptom of that issue. So I think that was very emotionally intelligent for you to notice that. And you want to do your best to do things that you can share memories and have a good time, and realize that people are different and they appreciate different things. So looking back, even though it was really a struggle, like I'm really happy I did, and we had amazing memories together. And yeah, he felt like he had a good vacation as well. All right, let's do the last. Oh, I see a hand. Go for it.
Beg your pardon, Love Story Unicorn. I just wanted to wrap it up because I do need to leave, and I'm sorry today. It's just been absolutely delightful. It's been a very beautiful, playful playground. Have a lot of emotional intelligence and a big, big heart. I too, on holidays, I really prefer small hotel, whereas my partner, he loves all that adventure. Even though when we're at home, he's like, he won't do it. Whereas I just love adventure. So this is the key now, isn't it, of just being able to speak our truth with kindness, and especially holidays, because everyone's holidays are very different. And everyone needs to have that rest and nurturing. And that's where you found Love Story Unicorn, that when you came home, all of the stuff happened. And we always think that, oh, when I'm on holiday, I'll read the book. When I'm on holiday, I'll rest. When I'm on holiday, I'll do this. And we sometimes don't. And let's just practice every day taking a break and having a little mini holiday or vacay in our minds, or, you know, some self-care. So I'll definitely be back. Again, thank you for your hospitality, your generosity, your benevolence. Very beautiful energy, very beautiful. So peace out, everyone, and just be kind to yourself. When you're kind to yourself, it will flow onto all of your relationships.
I'm so, so happy we met you. Thank you so much for coming, and I think really highly of you. Have an amazing night. And yeah, we're so happy that we met you on this space today. Awesome. Okay, we can jump to our next Reddit question, to practice the skill of standing our ground in real life situations with people. So this one is titled, so it's a 25-year-old male and a 24-year-old female, and the title is "My boyfriend thinks I shouldn't be so naive," and they actually give context on this one. And it's the woman is in a relationship with a man from a culture with different views on infidelity and gender norms. She initially agreed on some of his cultural values, particularly disapproving of promiscuity. However, she's now facing a dilemma because her boyfriend believes it's acceptable to pay for sex while on vacation, which has caused her heartbreak and raised questions about their relationship. She seeks advice from men on whether it's worth staying with a partner who holds such beliefs about infidelity and commitment. She also clarified that they both lived in a liberal European country, not their home countries, and that she doesn't fear her boyfriend despite the arguments. In summary, the woman is grappling with her boyfriend's differing views on infidelity and seeking advice on whether to continue the relationship or remain single. Yes, Django.
Sorry about that. I meant to put my brain kind of just. Oh man. Honestly,
Yes,
I
honestly.
think that the dude is being selfish and also just messed up like that. I feel like that should have been that cat should have been out the bag like within the first like 30 seconds of them like dating, not even becoming an official label yet, like not even boyfriend girlfriend. I'm talking about when they were just messing around the first couple times. Like that should have already been dealt with. I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, I don't in this situation I don't really blame the woman. I think the woman is completely in the right. I think she should leave his sorry ass and find another man or partner in just in general, because I think this dude clearly just messed up. Like he botched it. That's how I look at it. I think he totally botched it.
I love it.
Like I guess if she wanted to, she could try to work this out, but I'm gonna be honest, like I don't think this type of dude is gonna like, you know, like just like be willing to work that out on like a verbal level. Like it's just not gonna happen. Like I said, I wouldn't say she has much to be worried about as far as her safety goes, but like as far as like him actually listening to her, nah, I don't think it's happening.
Yep. No, I love that you spoke your mind, and I feel like you're on point. And it seems like she's not okay with it, and you know she realizes that, and it's so important that she stands her ground because it seems super important. It's really affecting her, and you know I hope like anyone who feels strongly about this can also stand their ground. You don't have to put up with this behavior, or you know if he's saying like this is a cultural thing, like you don't need to put up with it if
Yeah,
you are
it's
not
his
okay with
culture.
it.
It's not
Yeah,
your culture. Like you don't have to
exactly.
deal with that.
Yeah, so stand your ground. So that is, I put this one in so you guys can clearly know that if you feel like you're not happy with the situation, you can totally stand your ground and it's okay. And there are people that think they can get away with this sort of thing if you let them. So if she doesn't bring this up, he's going to keep going and doing this sort of thing. Like he's not going to change. And you're going to be really unhappy and you're going to be confused with why you're unhappy in the relationship. And like you might think all guys are like this. And you know, all of that is is not correct. So if you feel strongly about something, stand your ground. It's okay. And there is an amazing person that feels the same way as you. Just don't put up with that sort of thing if it's really upsetting to you. Last one for the day. So appreciate you guys for hanging in there. One last example for us to drive home standing your ground. So this one is...
Question on that one.
Yeah.
So let's say that person is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
Which
like
one, the girl or the guy?
Let's say the girl is your friend.
Right.
And these people, I mean, it sounds like the girl and the guy are married. And
I don't know. No. They were just boyfriend, girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Does that change anything?
Well, that makes the stakes a lot lower.
It does.
But okay, that just derailed me.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just gonna like, I remember there was obviously like this person, everyone here is like, yeah, just leave him, but she hasn't done it yet for whatever reason. And so I was just, something like this, it reminded me of I think kind of a technique you told me a long time ago where, you kind of imagine your life like a tree where you're like, okay, let's like say I stay with this person. What is my happiness level going to be out of 100? And, and then you evaluate that. And then you're like, okay, what if I guess the fear of breaking up with someone is, maybe for some reason, somehow they're good in other ways. And you're like, okay, what if I, never find another person? How happy am I going to be then? And, you rate that. And then you're like, okay, what if I find another person, but they're worse than this one in all ways except whatever, paying for sex thing? Then, what is that rated? And then lastly, like, how would you rate a life where, the person is better? And kind of seeing all the different options and laying them out, I think is a pretty interesting way of, talking to your friend about it or going about, solving it yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I did do that with someone for real. And thank you for bringing that up. It's a really handy tool to use whenever you need it or if a friend needs to use it. And even like one part of that tree is, what do you think is the probability of you finding someone better than that? And, I remember asking this question, and this is a very real story. And I remember the person was like, I don't know, 80%, like I'm 80% confident I'm going to find someone better. And so that was like a huge factor in them making a decision of staying or leaving. So yeah, definitely. That's a really good one. Starburst, I see your hand. Go for it.
Thank you. So I'm kind of with this first speaker, like it probably should have been something that was like, this is how I feel, with the exception of when we are, away from home, I get to, purchase a sexual encounter with a stranger. I think that there might be a lot at risk, for the partner who might not be in agreement with it. Besides, like, it's sort of like a bait and switch potentially. And I think that would just really just crumble the trust for me, like right then and there, just because it's like, oh, like me, oh, you wait until now, to like, oh, and it's, and it's their vacation too. So it's not like, so then would that be okay then? For her to go out and do that if she so choose to do, or would she not have that option as well? Or you know what I mean? I wonder how it would play out, like the other way. Like would he be down with her going and doing that, or is she just supposed to wait at home or at the hotel while he's out, and then come back to her or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like it almost just seems really just a very difficult subject. But for me, I would just be like, well, the odds are of finding somebody else are probably high because there are billions of people in the world. So,
yes.
I kind of look at the statistics like that. I'm like, nah, if it's a game changer, if it's a deal breaker, it might not be a deal breaker for her, but obviously if she's thinking about it, it's concerning for her for whatever her reasons are, be it physically, emotionally, or spiritually.
Yeah. And, both of you guys brought up that having these conversations at the beginning is so valuable. A lot of people don't have these conversations at the beginning and they find out later. So every hard topic that you think of, don't even be afraid to bring it up on the first date. Like, it's fine, because if you find out something like this and you feel strongly about it, you would have put less time and energy and everything into it. And you'd rather know at the beginning than later. Because if you've hashed all these hard things out at the beginning, the rest of your life is smooth sailing. So, and it's hard, I agree, but it's worth it. Django, I see your hand.
Okay, realistically, let's just put two and two together real quick. We know damn well dude is paying for sex with whoever he's paying, paying money to. But if the woman said, oh, let me do the same thing, we know damn well he's gonna be like, oh hell nah, like come on now, like like
Yep.
like like
Yep.
let's be real here, like that's just how it's gonna be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
quite frankly, because one, I'm gonna be honest, I come from like a different kind of cloth, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know any dudes who pay for sex. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, go outside, look around. Why are you paying for it? Like what are we doing here?
Yep.
Um, if you have to pay for it, and your girl suggests to you, "Oh, let me do the same thing." Trust me, she's
Mm-hmm.
not paying for it. Trust me, she's not paying for it.
She's
And then you're
probably
gonna
not paying for it.
and you're gonna feel away because you have to pay money for it, and she can just talk to the dude on the right, and then next thing you know, in 10 minutes, it's already on. And like,
Mm-hmm.
so we know damn well that man is gonna feel a certain way if his woman or his partner or whoever the fuck they bring it up and they're like, oh well, if you can do this, can I do this as well? It's going to be a no. And this is kind of why I go back to my original point of this should have been discussed in the very beginning, and the fact that it didn't happen. I strongly believe that woman should just leave. I'm gonna be honest, like there is a 99.6% chance, same percentage as Purell's killing power versus bacteria, same percentage, like
Yep.
99.6% chance she finds a dude better than him. I bet she
Mm-hmm.
finds a dude better than him on the same block.
Yep.
Like,
No,
I'm gonna
I
be honest.
agree. I'm
So
honestly like, if I had to make a call, and I usually don't go to the stance, but in this situation, everyone knows, like my husband knows, I usually never take the stance, but like it's such a slippery slope. And you're right. If you have that conversation, he's probably going to have a complete double standard on this. And if you're just trying to be with other people sexually, like what kind of teamwork is that? Like you are not not making yourself and your partner feel loved and cared for and trusted, and
exactly,
none of that is going on. So yes, if I had
exactly.
to call, I would 100% be like, this is not the person for you if you want like a happy, committed, lifelong relationship.
As someone who's been in like a similar situation with a girl when
Mm-hmm.
she was like, trying to explore and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
like I was kind of under the impression that she was like looking for like a man.
Mm-hmm.
But like regardless, we didn't really have the conversation. Oh, I felt all types of hurt
Oh,
like when it happened. So like
of
I
course.
I went through all the emotions. I went through it, anger, depression,
Mm-hmm.
numbness. I went through all of it. So it was just like, I look back at it now. I'm like, look at me. I'm so stupid then. Like, and I didn't know any better. I forgive myself for not knowing better back then. But
Mm-hmm.
like, the communication is everything. Like, you need
Yeah.
to have the talks. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta chat.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, relationship, romantic dynamics it's not just, oh, two people look good and they both acknowledge they look good and then they live happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no. It's all really what ends up coming out of your mouth. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I heard men and women and folks in between say this thing. Oh, they look good till they open their mouth, and then why? The stuff that came out their mouth was BS. So
Yep.
that's just what it is. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for the opportunity.
So much value, so much value. Please listen. Like he's speaking from experience and he had to learn it the hard way, but he's so much better for it. And we all are. Thank you for sharing that. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. This is all so valuable. And like at the very beginning, I was highlighting that you don't want to settle for looks, or you don't want to settle for like an emotional connection. You want it all. Like you want to have all the important things that you want in a relationship. And a lot of people don't go for it because they think either that person doesn't exist or the expectations are too high, and they just never properly look. And trust me, I've helped so many couples, and I've even helped so many couples get together. And those people that are like, oh my God, I have too many expectations. Even myself, I was like, I have really high expectations for what I want in a partner. Like, you will find it. Just set your bar really high and someone will fall into it. And once you have that amazing person, you know how valuable they are and you go all in, and then you just be the best teammate for them. And because you're at their level and they're at your level, you guys just treat each other like at an amazing level. Sorry, I'm using the level too much, but it's just really magical when two amazing people come together. And please don't settle for someone who's only beautiful or only, I don't know, this or that. Like, you want to have it all. Like, if with attraction, my rule of thumb is you want to be at least 8 out of 10 or above attracted to them. Like, if they're a 7 but their like personality is really great, maybe they can move up to an 8 or above. But like, you want to feel attracted and you want them to be an amazing person on the inside in all of these different ways. So it is possible. I myself found it. I know so many people that have found it, and I know you can find it too if you set the bar there. Armand, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that, in 99.6% of the time, you're on the side of the relationship. This may be the only time I've ever seen you be on the side of one of the two people.
Yep, no, and you're right. But if there was some girl that was just like, I don't want anything better, like, this is good, I don't know, if you want to settle for a low relationship, like, you can, like, I'm not going to stop you, like, but it's just, I know, like, the level is just really low. Like, if you want to settle at that level, like, that's your choice. I'm not going to tell anyone that they have to do something differently, but like just know you can have something so much better and stand your ground. Like some people might not care if they're at that low level, but people that care, like you don't have to put up with this. So yeah, I usually never take this stance, but there are some situations where you got to stand your ground. It's the whole point of today's topic. So I'm standing my ground on today's topic. Awesome. Any questions anyone had about anything? Any comments anyone wants to share? Any stories they want to share? We are all ears. Django, I see you. I want to hear you.
My last question, slash my last, I guess, contribution, because I do want people to talk, is this: as someone who has always struggled with, I guess, it's put like this. I grew up as a class clown type dude. I don't know. Guess I didn't get enough attention growing up, right? So like I kind of developed a skill set to be very entertaining, and I feel like that does not help me find people who are good for me as far as like a relationship, or whether it's casual or even like more long term oriented, like straight up, it just doesn't really help. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what, like how would standing your ground apply in a situation like this? Because like, you know, that could mean like either I just stick to my class clown-esque antics, if you will, and just kind of settle for like the best I can get doing that, or like I try to be myself, or not even try, I just be myself, which I'm gonna be honest is a lot more introverted and less obvious, less like aggressively extroverted, if you will. But then like what I get from there is like completely unknown. Like at that point it's like unknown territory. And on top of that, like the vast majority of people who I know who, let's say I have even like just like regular platonic like relationships with, so like, you know, guys and girls, like they aren't even aware of that side of me. And so it's like, do I stand my ground with what most people perceive me as, or do I like stand my ground trying to be my real self, knowing damn well that like that's a very, very, very different thing altogether. If that makes sense. I'm sorry, this is a bad question.
No. What a great question. And you believe this or not, in the last 3 days, I had someone ask me the exact same question. So you're not alone. Be yourself. It's the hardest one, but you will be so thankful for it, because if you are being your class clown self, that isn't the true self. You have someone fall for that. And let's say you get married to this person, everything works out, and you start becoming more like yourself with time. You got your whole lifetime, and then your wife is like, who is this? Like, I didn't marry this. Like, I have no idea who this is. Like, I married like this person. And then you're like, wait, but that wasn't me. And then, then you need someone to fall in love with you, like the person you really are. So start, practicing and getting more comfortable. You don't have to like go all in if that's too much, but start slowly practicing, bringing that more authentic side of you out. And trust me, that's going to attract the person that you can spend the rest of your life with. You don't want someone that hasn't seen that side of you, who, you want someone who appreciates that side of you, loves that side of you, nurtures that side of you, like makes you feel loved for everything you are. And that's the deepest form of love. Even if someone falls in love with like the class clown version of you, you won't feel whole, because they don't know all of you, and they can't love all of you until they see that. And it's okay if you want to mix in some class clown with who you are, and your elements of both, but definitely you don't want to hide that other part. And I had this question come up to me a few days ago, and just so you feel like you're not alone or the only one dealing with this, like this person was very introverted growing up, and they realized that, in this world, people really value extroversion and being able to talk to people and being social and being a leader and all these things. And so
Yeah, that's me. That sounds like me. Like I know,
exactly.
I grew up as one of them quote unquote gifted kids. Let it be known now that being a gifted kid is a scam. All right, you get burnt out way faster than everybody else. But we're not gonna get into that. All right, that's a story for another day. But yeah, like honestly, I spent a lot of time playing to myself, tending to myself like a little kid, just like in my own worlds. And I kind of figured out in school, because I was always so bored, but I also wanted like some attention, some friends. I was like, oh, if I do some really goofy shit, if I say something ridiculous, if I'm extreme, if I test the limits of black and white, then people will like me. People are magnetized and kind of hypnotized by that side of me. So let me just abuse it. And it won me a lot of friends at first, but then, as people started getting older, I would say like the end of 6th grade is when like I started noticing like, yo, this shit ain't really working out for me anymore. Like it's just not hitting. But like I'm gonna be honest, I was 12 and I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't really know how to express that I knew something was happening, but I couldn't even put my finger on what it was either. So I just kind of, like, I'm 24 now. It's been 12 years basically, and like only like literally like just recently has it really dawned on me like, damn, this is my fucking problem. Like, my problem is that I've been not myself for so long, at least socially, and that's what's killing me. Like, that's why I feel miserable all the time. That's why I feel like I don't really have friends, even though I do. You know, like, that's why I feel like I'm not able to be appreciated, loved, respected, all these things.
I think that's so spot on. And I feel like this was like, I don't know, a pretty monumental moment, and I love it. And I think this person I'm talking about could relate with so much of what you said. And like, now, like literally just in the last few days, they're practicing to be themselves, like in their truest form. And it's hard. And, they do feel lonely and like not understood. And everyone just sees them as like, this person that they're not. And yeah, everything you said. And so, attracting the person that, loves the true you is a whole thing. And this guy literally is doing that. And yeah, he found someone that really like straight up was there for him emotionally through all of these feelings, and like was there for him. And like, it's possible. Arman, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to, briefly kind of empathize with Django. I, was also kind of a bit of a person who I don't really consider myself that extroverted of a person, but, I don't know if I read somewhere when I was a kid that it was like good to make people laugh, or that's how they like you, or something like that. But so I don't know, I always tried to tell jokes and be the life of the party and stuff like that. And, it didn't quite work. There were, definitely times where I would like come away and I'd be like exhausted, or I would like turn around and like my smile would just immediately drop. I don't remember. Probably it was like sometime in high school. There were some days where I would get like fed up, and I remember there's one time I was sitting at the lunch table, and people were just like, I just had like enough, and like, my friends were looking at me, and they were like, "Dude, what's wrong with you? What's happened?" And just looking back is just hilarious, because I don't know, I just I had enough, and I couldn't really do it in that moment. But yeah, I guess at least for me, I still love jokes. I love humor. Um, I I don't think I could have a partner who wasn't funny or didn't tell jokes. But at the same time, there's some of that other, I can be serious and stuff like that as well. My energy doesn't always have to be high. I don't always have to be happy. I don't always have to be the life of the party. I just do it when I feel like it.
Arman, did you find someone who loves you for all of you?
Yes.
Sorry, he's my husband, so like he's telling the truth, but I wanted you guys to hear like a real life person on this call right now that really got to be his whole self and have it all accepted and loved, and just it's possible. There's literally someone on this call that feels like that, and me too. Like on my end, like I go blank at parties. Like I can do this podcast and I can answer people's questions and I can teach people amazing skills, but and like I can answer people's questions really well. But you put me in like a party where I don't really know people and I have to have small talk. I literally go blank, and I look like I don't have social skills. And I like have a master's in psychology, and I study human behavior and all that. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum, and I feel really loved and accepted that Arman, my husband, can accept me with that element of me that like, yeah, like I have all these amazing skills, but like I can just suck at a party sometimes.
Sometimes you're just a potato.
I'm just a potato. But I can feel safe enough to be like his potato, and he'll still love me, even though it's not the most attractive thing. So yeah, it's and you know what? And that makes me feel so close to him and so loved by him, because I get to be myself, and I'm like for sure like trying to work on it and things like that. But I think that deep love happens when someone can accept parts of you that isn't the most attractive, and it's the real you. And we all have parts of like that, parts of ourselves that are like that. And so it's really beautiful when we find a really high quality person that just makes us feel loved on that level, and it's absolutely possible. Starbucks, I see your hand.
I just wanted to say tater tots are cute.
They are. I love tater tots.
That's a potato.
God. It is a potato. Armand, though, never used to call me a potato, call me a tater tot. That's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
I can call you a tater tot. I'm a potato sometimes too. Sometimes you look and you expect to see a person, and it's just a nice russet. What are you gonna do?
That's it. You're just gonna love that russet.
Look for some sour cream.
Yeah.
You know, onions. I don't
You
know,
got to
salt
get
and
those
pepper.
fixins.
You got to get the chives. You need some chives in there
Chives
too.
are really good. I could not recommend any like fresh chives are the biggest game changer as far as loaded potatoes go. I did not know how much of it's just really really important. I don't think I can have a baked potato anymore without the chives. It's just that important.
I love
Um,
that. It's really funny. Chalo just came in. He's like, being a regular, and he's like, why are we talking about food? Probably. He just came in at the tail end of it, but it's recorded. You can hear back to it and see how we got here. But we're pretty much saying that how we love all the parts. You know, when you find a high quality person, they love all the different parts of you, even the parts where you feel like a potato. We're from
like
potato, we went to tater tots, we went to rustic potatoes with the sour cream and the chives, and that's how we got here.
no russet potatoes.
Russet potatoes. There we go. There we go. Is there anything anyone else wants to share or ask or comment or share a story before we wrap up for the week?
Yes, me.
Yes, Omid, go ahead.
Who do you think is the MVFM this week?
Oh, great question. So this is a recent thing we've started since Omid, my brother, came from Australia. So the MVFM stands for the Most Valuable Floor Manager, which we just created out of thin air. And I have to give it to, I feel, Django. Like you opened up and you asked some amazing questions and had some amazing realizations, and I just value your input so much. It was so valuable, and you are the MVFP of this week. So congratulations. Love it. Love it.
Who's the spud stud?
The spud stud. Love it. Love it. It can be our inside joke that only we will know what's going on. Love that. Love that. Well, with that, that's an amazing, close to a great week of learning about relationship skills. And same time next week, we'll tackle a new skill. And if you want a topic covered, I'm more than happy to take it on. Just text me, be like, hey, I would love a topic on this. And I will definitely incorporate it and give as much knowledge on that as I can. I wish you guys all the love life of your dreams, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Great talk.